Hi, thanks for watching BibleMountain.com. In this video we're going to read from Exodus 26 and learn that we Christians must be better examples of holiness. If anyone steps back and takes a look at our society, they see that Christians are not a whole lot different than everyone else in our society. In this video we're going to look at some verses in Exodus 26 that tell us about a holy place that was designed to keep the Ark of the Covenant. The idea of holiness is to be perfect and also to be complete. Holiness also has the idea of being set aside for a special purpose. In this case, the holy place was set aside as a place to keep the Ark of the Covenant. We're also going to look at some verses in Romans that talk about us Christians being holy. And that means that we are supposed to be perfect and complete and set aside for a special purpose. And that means that we Christians should be holy, we should be different than everyone else in our society, we should be better examples of holiness. So let's take a look at this in Exodus 26. The context of this is God has the Israelites at Mount Sinai. He is giving them the Mosaic Law. These verses are part of a section where God is telling the Israelites to build a tabernacle. So let's start reading at verse 31. You shall make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet material and fine twisted linen. It shall be made with cherubim, the work of a skillful workman. You shall hang it on 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold, their hooks also being of gold, on 4 sockets of silver. You shall hang up the veil under the clasps, and shall bring in the ark of the testimony there within the veil. And the veil shall serve for you as a partition between the holy place and the holy of holies. So notice the word veil. Here they're told to make a veil. Now these lines represent the sides and the back of the tabernacle, and the veil was supposed to be placed there on 4 pillars, and behind that veil was supposed to be the Ark of the Covenant. And we see the idea of this veil was to be a partition, and then notice the word between. It was a partition between the holy place and the Holy of Holies. As I mentioned earlier, the idea behind holiness is to be perfect and complete. Holiness also has this idea of being set aside for a special purpose. And in this case, the holy place and the Holy of Holies were set aside as a special place to hold the Ark of the Covenant. We'll see later to also hold the table and the lampstand. Now we also see this concept in the New Testament. This is a verse from Hebrews, chapter 9, verse 3. Behind the second veil there was a tabernacle which is called the Holy of Holies. So that's a reference to this place in the tabernacle that we're reading about in Exodus. And the Greek word that is translated holy is the Greek word hagios. And we also see the word hagios elsewhere in reference to Christians. This is Romans chapter 1, verse 7. To all who are beloved of God in Rome, called as saints, grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. The saints, the word saints is a reference to Christians, and that's a translation of the Greek word hagios. And so we see that Christians are called hagios. Christians are holy. That means Christians should be perfect and complete, and Christians should be set aside for a special purpose. We also see this in Romans 12. Therefore I urge you, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies a living and holy sacrifice, acceptable to God, which is your spiritual service of worship. And so our bodies are supposed to be a holy sacrifice. Again, the Greek word used there is hagios. And so as Christians, if we're supposed to be set aside for a special purpose, that means we should not look like and be like and act like the rest of the world. We should not look like and be like and act like everyone else in our world. We should be different. Let's keep reading at verse 34. You shall put the mercy seat on the ark of the testimony in the Holy of Holies. You shall set the table outside the veil, and the lampstand opposite the table on the side of the tabernacle toward the south, and you shall put the table on the north side. And so we see that outside the veil was supposed to be the table and the lampstand. So here's the diagram we were looking at earlier with the Ark of the Covenant and the veil. And the table went out there, and also the lampstand. Verse 36. You shall make a screen for the doorway of the tent of blue and purple and scarlet material and fine twisted linen, the work of a weaver. You shall make 5 pillars of acacia for the screen, and overlay them with gold, their hooks also being of gold, and you shall cast 5 sockets of bronze for them. Then they were told to make a screen for the doorway. So let's go back to this diagram. The screen would go out here, and that would enclose everything within either walls or a screen, and that was how they made a special place for the ark and the table and the lampstand. Those items were within an enclosed space. Only priests could go in there, and so that caused those areas to be special and set aside for the special purpose of holding the Ark of the Covenant and the table and the lampstand. So as I said earlier, if anyone steps back and takes a look at our society, they see that Christians don't look and act a whole lot different than everyone else in our society. But we saw in Exodus 26 that the Israelites were supposed to create a special place, a holy place to keep the Ark of the Covenant. And the idea of being holy is to be perfect and complete and set aside for a special purpose. And we saw verses in Romans that mention that us Christians are supposed to be holy, which means we should be perfect and complete, meaning sinless. And that we're also supposed to be set aside for a special purpose. And that means that we have to be better examples of holiness. We should not look like the rest of the world. We Christians should be different because we are set apart for a special purpose, for special service to God. If you haven't joined my email list, please do so. First of all, it is free. By joining, you'll get immediate access to all my free content. It'll be delivered right to your email inbox. This is the best way to make sure you don't miss out on any of my free content. In order to sign up, go to BibleMountain.com, click on follow. There will be a place there to enter your email address. Once again, thank you for watching BibleMountain.com.